and sometimes it doesn't. Because dangerous work, when you're angry, becomes more dangerous. So we try to pick builds which we will also enjoy making. That way it will transfer well on camera. We try to pick builds that we can have as much fun with each other making as possible. Otherwise, you know, you're there for a little over a week making 6 items. It's hot. Power hammers can kill you. Literally every single item in the shop tries to kill you unless you know how to operate it. And even then, the problem is when you get a little bit too comfortable with an item, that's when it bites you again. So every single one of us have been cut by a belt one way or another, or let's say something flew from the power hammer, the molten borax,
chip off a hammer,
stomach, so on and so forth. So you have to be very careful. So you cannot have too much fun, but you cannot be angry and exhausted working. So now I'll take a brief pause, but I'll come back talking. And Matt has prepared a short expose on the bikinis found in South Baltimore.
No, I did not. Jeez Louise.
I don't know how to follow that. And this is what I work with every day.
Oh boy. Okay. Very nice.
Every day.
Okay. Yes. Ilya, when he's upset, pretty much shuts down. When he's really happy, you can't really live with him because he throws stuff at you. He's talking about the tools in the shop.
I found those sticky things that grow on the big leaves, and they just stick to you. Those,
yeah,
they're awesome.
All day, every day. I got home to play freaking Overwatch the other day, and I put my headset on, and there's one of those sticky things in the headset. So I don't even know how we did that. I don't even know where that came from exactly. By the way, like some people question whether we're nerds, geeks, gamers, whatever. We are. I run one of the oldest first-person shooter gaming clans out there called the Cybertron Army, CYBA. My boy Chris is in it, Bill's in it. We don't really do, I mean, it's not very big. We've been as big as like 100 plus people in it. Right now it's small, but we're playing Overwatch, Rocket League. What else do we play? Counter-Strike Go all day. League of Legends, stuff like that. But we are legit. You guys can look it up. My gamer tag is Stalkertron. You guys are free to add me on Steam. I play with people or whatever you want. I don't care. I don't hide. I'm not pro or anything like that, but I have a good time. Anyway, anybody see the Trunk Sword episode that just came out last week? A couple, almost 1 million of you have seen it. Oh yeah, it's over 1 million today. We hit over 1 million in 5 days. That's pretty impressive. That's a sign of a good episode for sure. Like Ilya said, we really tried to show some pretty cool historical techniques. Is this doing it? Does this really have power? I don't know. But we had a couple fun gags in there if you saw that, and little fun things in the demo, or the little finger block thing we did, and then the sand thing I did. But we tried to show a lot of different things, and this is a really neat piece because this is kind of like a basic one-handed broadsword, right? Well, it's got a lot of different. Huh? Talk louder. Talk louder. Hi guys, is this better? Anyway. Basic Western sword, except it's obviously been drawn by somebody from Japan, or at least somebody who's very familiar with Japanese swords. It has a habaki. The way the point is, it's not very realistic. If you actually come by the booth at any point in time, we're in the dealer's room, you can see this stuff up close, no problem. Talk to us, we're there all weekend. You'll see that when you make a point like this, it's almost impossible to actually make it sharp at the point. Yes, it will stab, and yes, it's sharp here, but it's not really sharp up here. So there's some design things that we have to,
You actually find that a lot in anime when people in Japan animate Western swords. They basically make a Japanese
Basically
sword.
bake.
They basically make a Japanese sword that looks from afar like a Western sword. Excalibur from Fate Stay Night is the same exact way. It has a habaki, the way the fittings are set up, the way it goes together is basically a Japanese sword. It's a ken. That's what it is, which is a generic term for sword, but that's not how Western swords work. In fact, it is to the detriment of making a Western sword the way you assemble a Japanese sword because you use them slightly differently. And it's actually, meet me at the booth, it's a engineering issue with swords, so.
It's an issue, but it's kind of another aspect that we don't always think about. Is like that's one of the things that keeps what we do fun. Hey, yeah, that's just a sword. Let's just make it. And when we start looking at it, oh, but it's got this and it's got that. So it keeps it interesting, keeps it challenging. And we do love a good challenge, don't get me wrong. I do complain a lot about having to grind the giant swords that you guys won't stop requesting. And then you complain about the demos not being great, and it's great. It's like, cool, you know, I can't really lift this, but you want me to do a legit demo with it. So that's why we hired Bill and other people and our buddy out there, always over there. Yeah, he's a gym rat, so we got him, and now we got his other gym rat friends coming out. You'll see, we got some pretty freaking wild episodes coming up. This season, I don't know why we do this every time we sign up to do a convention. It's 2 days after we wrap a crazy intense filming session. So just on Tuesday, we wrapped our most latest season. You won't see any of those videos for probably about a month and a half, but we did some really cool stuff, some big stuff, some small stuff, another great historical build. We can't really say what that is yet, but
It is basically the most requested.
it's the most requested historical build. So if you go through the comments, it's pretty obvious. You kissing me, baby? Hi. Hi. It's my kid. I'm not hitting on anybody. Oh boy. But yeah, so we just wrapped that on Tuesday. I took a day off Wednesday. I don't think these two guys took a day off, but I was just beat. Those demos, we filmed those demos. We have, our last day is just a crazy crunch of finishing weapons to get them ready for their beauty shots. Each beauty shot takes about a half an hour where they do those slow pans, and lately they've been quick pans, so we'll try to get them to slow those down so you can see the weapons a little more. But right after that, we eat lunch. They usually order us pizza, which is a really great thing before you have to go out and perform. And then we do demos, and we smash stuff, and we slice stuff, and we do all that. And then, you know, the next day my body's really upset.
Oh, speaking of the demos, for the cosplayers, we select cosplayers for regular people that pass by our booth at a convention. They're like, regular, we can select that guy over there, her over there, something like that.
How many people here have been on Man at Arms? Is there any cosplayers hiding out there that have been here? You can raise your hand. You've been on there like 5 times, bro.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, okay.
Now,
usually we invite a couple of
regular
them.
people. So when, you know, someone says something inappropriate about a cosplayer, just know they're regular guys. We don't hire professional cosplayers. Number one, we don't have the budget for it. Number two, I don't care about professional cosplayers much. They're professionals, they're models. I care about bringing in the fan base into the show when there is a chance.
Yeah,
That's
when
what
you
I-
see the cosplayers, I can't say 100% of the time, but at least 95% of the time on our show, they are the super fan of that genre. So when we bring in a cosplayer, you see them maybe a little nervous because we don't give them a heads up. They come from, we say, hey, go stand here, and then I put their fantasy in their hands immediately. So if you see a cosplayer looking a little nervous, it's because they're freaking nervous. They are legit fans, and that's just how we're gonna do it. And if people complain, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. That's what we believe in. We believe in the real spirit of cosplay, which is true fans. We're not gonna shame anybody. If you're the wrong gender, if you're the wrong color, any of that stuff, it doesn't matter to us as long as you're a true fan and you look decent.
Yeah, so sometimes that's one part of the show. Sometimes somebody's cosplay will not be dead on. Why? Because it's a high school girl who just graduated and worked like for 4 months making her first costume, and then she's the cosplayer that's close to us that we met, and she's doing her cosplay with whatever the item is. Don't want to disclose much, but she's a regular person. We hiring professionals for that. I feel it's a little bit cheap for the spirit of a YouTube show. For television, maybe professional models are better, but since it's social media, since it's all the information and requests, it's request-based, it's crowdsourced, it's grassroots, so we try to keep the cosplayers the same way. No, you will get that stuff. If you talk on that, you will start doing the bzzz thing.
That off in a minute, that's all.
Oh,
Let me ask you guys a quick question. How many here saw the gravity hammer?
Bill,
All right, everybody saw the cosplayer we had for that. He couldn't lift it.
he's here, isn't he?
He's a regular.
Calling
He's a
you out,
good
bro.
guy. He couldn't lift it. His Master Chief is awesome. But again, who had to lift it? And let me tell you, I'll give you guys a little credit here. That thing is heavy. I saw a lot of comments were like, well, get a strong man to do it. We have one of our gentlemen who works out a lot. You ask him. These weapons are not normal.
It's not just that it was heavy. We were walking around with it like on our shoulder the day before John attached the back blade on it, but that back blade was sharp, and then you couldn't, so there's design flaws. No, not necessarily design flaw in that case. You're supposed to wear an exoskeleton type suit to be able to lift it, so I mean, whatever, that's fine, but we don't have one of those yet. I've been telling him to make one. I don't know why he's so lazy, but let's see. 124. We're gonna start taking questions in a couple minutes. We're gonna keep rambling for a
yeah.
few. Get
Our
your
approach
questions
is
together.
also, if like the Great Sword Artorias, like that, right? Okay, all right, whatever. So once you start playing the game of giant unliftable weapons, it does not matter how much lighter you made it for convenient use, it's still unliftable. So you might just as well make it as heavy as it would have been. So what if it's unliftable? We can just have no demo. It's just like, yep, can't lift it, bye-bye. But trust it.
I don't know, I didn't have a problem
Yeah, well, that time we didn't, but one of the days there will be an episode where we will not have a demo at some point, and just be prepared. We haven't filmed an episode like that yet, but if it's something giant, can't lift it. We'll throw it off of the roof onto a pumpkin. That's the maximum we do. There will be stuff like that. But so long as it's safe to make, because sometimes you heat up like 100. If you heat up 100 pounds of steel, all stretched out into a blade, standing next to it is incredibly dangerous because it's radiating 100 pounds of heat onto you. So if you check the kilocalories that are necessary to heat up that amount of steel and then losing heat at the expected rate onto you, the infrared radiation that burns you is ridiculous. And that's what it is, that the heat is infrared. That's it.
Hey, real quick, I want to apologize. Usually at our panels, we give a little sneak peek of the next episode. I left my laptop at home, so I apologize. I do have a little something from that episode that we're going to share with you in a second. One other thing I want to just remind everybody is we have a special presentation panel with PA Works tomorrow. At some point, I'm not sure when we're going to do that with them. Check the guidebook. And then Ilya has a historical talk panel on Sunday that's right now just titled Ilya Alexiev on there, but that's all, we'll all be there, but it's mostly him doing strictly historical cool stuff, right?
Yes, that one is going to be more academic. You get a lot of history of aesthetics. If people are actually taking art history classes anytime, you could take this shit.
All right.
Why? Because I will be giving footnotes. If you can write that down, there's an essay you can write for his Greek art history, and it's relevant to the stuff you like.
There will be nipples.
Boom.
There are nipples. I saw it.
Oh yeah,
There's nipples.
there will be pictures of classical sculpture that often are nude because, so if someone doesn't like classical sculpture and painting that are nude, I can't really help you.
All right. We're gonna get to questions in just a minute. Like I said, I'm gonna give you guys a brief sneak peek. I will ask people who are recording just to turn their recordings off or just